What if the interactions between two countries determine the fate of a whole continent? What if a single, straightforward visit set off a series of events that determine the future of a whole region? John Dramani Mahama's inauguration as President of Ghana on January 7, 2025, was more than just a political event. It was a watershed, a time when the ties that bind West Africa were put to the test, reinforced, and reaffirmed. However, what does it signify when Burkina Faso's captain Ibrahim Traore visits Ghana on this significant day? Could a better future for both nations and the whole West African region be unlocked by this visit? We want to take a moment to express our gratitude for your support and for being an important part of our vibrant community. If you haven't joined yet, we invite you to do so that we can work together to create an even greater community. Let's begin. The inauguration of President John Dramani Mahama for a second term in office took place in Ghana on January 7, 2025, and it was a historic occasion that would have tremendous impact throughout the continent. This was a significant reaffirmation of Ghana's commitment to democratic governance, rather than merely another ordinary political event. It's no secret that power changes in many African nations are sometimes accompanied by unpredictability, protests, and even violence. Ghana, which is renowned for its political stability and peaceful transitions, served as an example of Africa's capacity for successful democratic processes. Ghana, however, is demonstrating to the world that peaceful elections and a handover of power are not merely feasible. They have the potential to serve as the cornerstone of a prosperous democracy. President Mahama's swearing-in represented more than just the continuance of governance for Ghana. Ghana's dedication to democratic principles, which have shown themselves tenacious even in the face of adversity, is what I want to see continue. Ghana's transition has been peaceful, which is important for the continent of Africa as a whole. Ghana's calm elections provide other countries on the continent hope and inspiration in a continent where political instability frequently makes headlines. Ghana has set a vital example for its neighbors and the larger African continent by demonstrating that democracy can both work and flourish. In addition to celebrating democracy, Ghanaians saw this inauguration as a manifestation of their shared will to uphold and defend the democratic institutions that have molded their nation. Beyond Ghana's boundaries, this day is significant because it shows the world that peaceful political processes can occur in Africa. However, the entire West African area, especially Burkina Faso, which is a neighbor, found great significance in this inauguration. With Ghana and Burkina Faso having a close relationship, it is evident that Ghana's political changes have an effect that transcends national boundaries. There was more to this collective celebration of democracy than the political triumph of a single country. It also underlined how crucial it is for nearby nations to work together in order to promote peace and stability. On January 7, 2025, Burkina Faso's captain, Ibrahim Traoré, traveled to Ghana to attend President Mahama's inauguration. This gesture was more than merely diplomatic. It served as a significant signal of unity between two nearby countries who have similar goals for West Africa's future. Traoré's visit demonstrated Burkina Faso's dedication to collaborating with Ghana to tackle the common issues that both nations face in the framework of regional cooperation. Although Ghana and Burkina Faso have long had a close connection, this visit strengthened it much more. Geographical proximity, trade, and shared cultural heritage have long bound these nations together. However, underneath these outward appearances is a deeper alliance built on support and common experiences. Captain Traoré's visit served as a public declaration of these strong relationships and an appreciation of the value of regional collaboration in Africa, particularly during a period of growing uncertainty and difficulty. This visit was an important step for Burkina Faso in showing that, in spite of internal issues, it is still dedicated to fostering and enhancing ties with its neighbors. This type of diplomatic gesture becomes an effective means of reinforcing stability in an area where instability can occasionally foster mistrust or dread. Under Traore's direction, Burkina Faso is eager to show that it is overcoming its internal conflicts and putting more of an emphasis on forging closer ties with its neighbors. There is more to this historical occasion than a political figure paying a visit to another. It's about showing the world that African nations are taking control of their own destiny, cooperating to find solutions to shared issues, and tackling the continent's particular difficulties. Traore's attendance at Mahama's inauguration is a potent reminder that collaboration is essential to Africa's future and that the continent's strength is found in its capacity to function as a single unit. And how was Captain Traore received by the Ghanaian populace? When Captain Ibrahim Traore first arrived in Ghana, he was met with an incredible reception. It was a sincere celebration of the close ties between the two nations and went beyond simple formal diplomatic relations. Ghanaian government representatives, local Burkina Faso residents, and others who viewed the gathering as more than just a political event greeted Traore at Kotoka International Airport. It was a declaration of solidarity between the Burkina Faso and Ghanaian people. An important factor in this cordial welcome was the Burkina Faso community in Ghana, which has long been an essential component of Ghanaian society. Many Burkina Faso residents have developed close ties with Ghanaians after years of living and working there. Not only was their presence at the airport symbolic, but it also demonstrated the close bonds between the citizens of the two countries. Ghana showed friendship, respect, and shared ideals by welcoming Captain Traore with open arms. In the modern world, when political ties may frequently feel aloof or transactional, the Ghanaians' show of togetherness is a potent statement. A vital component of the diplomatic relationship between Ghana and Burkina Faso has always been the close personal ties between the two nations' citizens. Both nations' citizens have similar history, ideals, and aspirations, which were prominently shown when Traore was there. His entrance made it abundantly evident that the visit was a true relationship and cooperation rather than merely a political formality. Add your voice to the total liberation of Africa by leaving a comment in the comments section below. Do not forget to like and subscribe for more informative videos like this one. Let's proceed. This visit was a source of pride and happiness for the people of Burkina Faso. The warmth with which the Ghanaians welcomed their leader demonstrated the profound respect that exists between the two countries. It also emphasized the value of community and the part interpersonal relationships play in fortifying political ties. This served as a reminder of the value of community involvement in promoting international relations in a world where political narratives frequently disregard the opinions of common people. Thus, what is the significance of Captain Traore's visit to Burkina Faso? The trip to Ghana by Captain Ibrahim Traore was not merely a token act. It was an important milestone in Burkina Faso's international re-engagement and a sign of the nation's will to bring itself into the public eye. Under Traore's leadership, Burkina Faso has been concentrating on re-establishing and strengthening ties with its neighbors and beyond following years of domestic strife and political unrest. Burkina Faso's willingness to actively engage in regional and global issues was powerfully demonstrated by this visit. Traore's visit to Ghana was a source of pride for the Burkina Faso people. It was a confirmation of the optimism for the future, as well as a reflection of the political stability of the nation. Burkina Faso's citizens, who have endured many hardships throughout the years, were able to observe how their leader represented their interests globally. This was a strong message to the world that Burkina Faso is a country that is actively working to forge connections and move forward, rather than one that is defined by its issues. Additionally, this visit demonstrated to the world community Burkina Faso's significance in West Africa. Despite its share of challenges, the nation is currently establishing itself as a partner for cooperation, progress, and peace. This action is significant for Burkina Faso's international standing, as well as its domestic agenda. Raising Burkina Faso's reputation abroad through Traore's tour could result in improved commercial deals, increased foreign investment, and closer diplomatic ties with other African countries. However, what part does Ghana's Burkinabe population play in fostering these ties? An important factor in the two nations' ties is the Burkinabe community in Ghana. Many people from Burkinabe have settled in Ghana over the years, becoming deeply ingrained in the social fabric, culture, and economy of the nation. In addition to boosting Ghana's economy, these people and families have strengthened the political and cultural bonds between the two countries. It is impossible to overestimate their contribution to Ghana and Burkina Faso's sense of unity. Captain Traore's arrival was a momentous occasion for the people of Burkinabe. In addition to recognizing their place in Ghanaian society as a whole, it was a chance to honor their heritage and ties to Burkina Faso. The community made a strong statement by endorsing Traore. They are dedicated to making sure that the solid link between the two nations keeps strengthening and are proud of their Burkina Faso roots. The strong political and cultural ties between the two countries are strengthened in large part by this community. A strong indication to both governments that the people of these nations have the same future vision is sent when the Burkinabe community in Ghana supports their leader. Political leaders are not the only ones that share this oneness. It is ingrained in common people's lives, as well as in their hopes and experiences. The community's ongoing participation in this diplomatic endeavor emphasizes how crucial interpersonal relationships are in forming global affairs. One of the main pillars of the two countries' good relations is still the link between the Burkinabe community in Ghana and both administrations. Their participation in Captain Traore's tour serves as a reminder of how crucial local ties are in determining diplomatic strategy. Going ahead, both nations' dedication to regional cooperation, economic growth, and cross-cultural exchange will be reinforced by this collaboration. Furthermore, how does this visit improve ties between Burkina Faso and Ghana? The visit by Captain Traore to Ghana is a significant step in fortifying the two countries' already strong ties. In addition to the diplomatic gestures, this visit represents a commitment on the part of both nations to keep collaborating on common concerns such as economic development, regional security, and international assistance. Following major occurrences like this inauguration, nations always get a chance to consider their relationship and future prospects. This trip gave Ghana and Burkina Faso the opportunity to reaffirm their commitment to one another in ways that will define their collaboration for years to come, not just in words. The cultural, social, and economic ties that have grown over time are the foundation of Ghana and Burkina Faso's relationship, which goes far beyond diplomacy and formal visits. Trade between these two nations is very tight, with Ghana being a significant trading partner for Burkina Faso, especially in sectors like natural resources and agriculture. The supply chains and trade channels that connect them are essential to both their economic health and the prosperity of the surrounding area. Through these trips, the relationship is strengthened, allowing both countries to continue developing together, resolving common issues and creating new economic prospects. Furthermore, security cooperation is becoming more and more significant in West Africa. Only by cooperating will Ghana and Burkina Faso be able to address regional security threats like organized crime and insurgency. Both governments' readiness to help one another in these areas demonstrates their mutual trust and dedication to regional stability. In addition to improving the two nations' bilateral ties, this supports larger security initiatives in West Africa. It is evident from examining the larger West African region that collaboration between nations such as Ghana and Burkina Faso is not only advantageous but also necessary. Security issues, economic instability, and climate change are just a few of the many common problems that West Africa faces. Since the problems are not specific to any one nation, but rather affect people everywhere, cooperation between nations is the only practical way to achieve long-term success. To overcome these obstacles, nations like Ghana and Burkina Faso can pool their resources, knowledge, and approaches. for instance, the region's security concerns. The challenges posed by organized crime, insurgency, and insurgency movements transcend national boundaries. When a nation has these problems, it instantly affects its neighbors. These nations may create a more robust regional military structure by cooperating to improve security and intelligence exchange. Ghana and Burkina Faso's expanding partnership serves as an example of how neighbors can band together to combat shared dangers. In terms of the economy, regional cooperation creates a wealth of potential for common markets, infrastructure development, and trade. Although both Ghana and Burkina Faso aspire to increase economic development, cooperation is necessary to overcome their shared problems of poverty, underdevelopment, and scarce resources. By enhancing trade channels, exchanging information, and pooling resources for infrastructure initiatives, these countries can create a more robust economy that benefits the region as a whole, not just their own inhabitants. Furthermore, West Africa is increasingly at risk from climate change. To solve problems like droughts, floods, and other climate-related issues that impact agriculture, food security, and water supply, nations in the region must cooperate. West African nations can lessen the effects of climate change and make sure that their citizens are better equipped for the future by working together on environmental projects. Cooperation also makes it possible to share resources for sustainable development and climate adaptation, which lessens the financial load on each nation separately. To put it briefly, when West African nations come together, they build a more robust and resilient region that is better able to handle the problems of the contemporary world. The partnership between Ghana and Burkina Faso is a prime example of the effectiveness of collaboration and demonstrates that no nation can prosper in isolation. Political alliances aren't the only thing at stake. It's about creating a shared future that guarantees security, prosperity, and peace for all residents in the area. Africa's strength is its capacity for unity. Common conflicts, colonialism, exploitation, and the quest for independence have tied African nations together for centuries. However, the spirit of solidarity has continued to be a significant part of Africa's identity even after colonization ended. The continued assistance that African nations provide to one another is based on a mutual understanding that when one African nation thrives, the continent as a whole gains. It goes beyond simple diplomacy. One potent example of this sense of solidarity is Ghana's assistance to Burkina Faso and vice versa. When African nations encounter challenges, be they social, political, or economic, adjacent nations intervene to provide assistance. There are other forms of mutual aid than government-to-government assistance. It also applies to the citizens of these countries. This solidarity is what distinguishes Africa from the rest of the world. It is based on shared beliefs and experiences. It serves as a reminder that cooperation, not rivalry, is what makes Africa strong. The significance of this unity is emphasized by Captain Traore's visit to Ghana. It demonstrates that nations in Africa are not isolated entities, each battling their difficulties on their own. Rather, they are a component of a more extensive, interrelated whole. They can more successfully handle difficulties and provide chances for group advancement if they help one another. In addition to overcoming present difficulties, this solidarity is crucial for creating a sustainable future for the continent. Additionally, this support transcends political gestures. It is evident in the manner in which African nations collaborate locally, whether via trade deals, cultural exchanges, educational collaborations, or humanitarian assistance. The belief that mutual assistance and progress are essential to Africa's success is best illustrated by the connection between Ghana and Burkina Faso. It demonstrates how African nations come together to form a more powerful and cohesive continent that is capable of confidently tackling any obstacle. What do we ultimately learn from the participation of other African leaders? A potent reminder of Africa's unity was provided by the attendance of other African leaders at President Mahama's inauguration. These leaders weren't there merely to support Ghana. Their purpose was to reinforce the African continent's ownness. Their participation demonstrated that Africa's development is a collective effort and that cooperation, not isolation, is essential to the continent's future. African nations must show solidarity during difficult political or economic circumstances. These leaders' attendance demonstrated that Africa's power comes from its unity rather than from the deeds of its separate nations. It sends a statement to the world that African nations are dedicated to cooperating to better the lives of their people, and that the continent is capable of self-determination. Addressing the issues the continent faces from unemployment and poverty to political instability and climate change requires this sense of cooperation. These leaders' attendance at Mahama's inauguration is evidence that Africa is heading toward greater unity. It shows the increasing understanding that African nations need to work together to address the problems that impact them all. Beyond country boundaries, there is a common dedication to enhancing the quality of life for all Africans. In order to build a continent that is not just rich and peaceful, but also powerful internationally, this unity is crucial. What follows this visit for Burkina Faso? Burkina Faso is embarking on a new chapter, with hope and optimism for the future thanks to Captain Traore's visit to Ghana. It is evident that Burkina Faso is dedicated to forging closer ties with its neighbors and the global community as it emerges from an unstable transition. The visit shows that Burkina Faso is actively participating in the process of growth and development, rather than merely overcoming previous setbacks. This visit is a source of pride for the Burkina Faso people. It demonstrates that their nation is progressing and that the world is taking notice of their leadership. This suggests that Burkina Faso is a nation with enormous growth potential in addition to its issues. Burkina Faso is setting itself up for future success by cultivating closer ties with its neighbors and the global community. A better future for Burkina Faso begins with this visit. And it is evidence of the Burkinabe people's tenacity and resolve. Do you believe that African leaders are now realizing how important unity is? Do you think Africa is ready for this change? Tell us what you think in the comments section below. We explore the rich history, culture, and the ongoing struggle for sovereignty in Africa. Join us in this important conversation by subscribing to our channel. By subscribing, you're not just staying informed, you're becoming part of a movement dedicated to reclaiming Africa's rightful place on the global stage. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Let's work together to spread knowledge and inspire change. Thanks for watching.